Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Of course, right off the bat.
Well, I don't know what this thing is. I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to
DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys, on today's show. How to gain 85 more minutes of sleep per night. And do women really smell better? Also, why are people losing their butts on this new diet? And also, what has 3 legs and goes around and around chasing coyotes? All this and much, much more will be discussed here on DeaconLive. How are you? How are things? How are things going? Are you doing okay? Are you getting along with everyone? That's all we care about. Making sure everyone gets along with everyone. And we are all one big happy family. Now, I am somewhat happy right now. I'm not out in that hot sun that's been coming down here in the Carolinas. Now, for every podcast we do here on DeaconLive, we also have a video that goes in tandem with every podcast. So all the audio that you hear on your iHeart network, on your Spotify, on your iTunes, you can also see the video of us here in the studio as well. Hi, how are you? And when we have videos and news articles that we're talking about, and there's a visual aspect of it, you can see that over YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe over there as well. So this past week here in the Carolinas, we broadcast just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we were putting up a new fence. As you guys know, I have 20 some odd acres here. We have a whole bunch of animals that are on the property. We have horses for the most part, chickens, dogs, cats, all the stuff. And the neighbors have goats that we kind of make sure that they're doing okay over there as well. But our front pasture, the fence has gotten a little dilapidated. I'm going with that one. And so we're trying to get all the boards straightened up. When we put them in, we didn't cement the poles in like every other one like you're supposed to. I'm like, it's hard clay soil. It'll hold them in. Well, when you got a 1,500-pound horse and he's sticking his neck through the wooden post and the wooden rails, they kind of lean on that a little bit, and they kind of push the post back out of the dirt a little bit, so they all had like this 25-degree angle around the whole entire property. So we put the horses on the other side of the property, and for the last couple of weeks, we've been taking down all the boards on a whole acre. I think it's 1.5 acres that we have this wooden fence around. Taking all the boards, flat stacking them is what they call in the business, flat stacking them, letting them all get level and flat, because they're all kind of warped and stuff. And pulling out all the poles and shrinking them. We're moving them. They were 10 feet apart. Now we're moving them down to 8 feet apart, and then we're doing all that. So I tell you that to tell you this. My wife and I started on one side of the property where it was in the shade. And around 3 o'clock, we ended up out in the sun part. You couldn't buy any shade out there. That was prime real estate. This pasture is full sun all day long. And don't get me wrong. I'm from Florida. I'm born and raised in Orlando, Florida. I know what sun is. I know what heat is. And I've said this many times over the years of this podcast. I think North Carolina heat is so much worse than the Florida heat. At least the Florida heat, because it's a flat state, you have these sea breezes is what they call them, because you have the Gulf of Mexico on one side, you've got the Atlantic Ocean on the other side, and you have this constant wind that kind of blows across the state of Florida, kind of cooling it down. So yes, the humidity is a lot higher in Florida, but you also have that breeze that gets it off here. Now, the reason why I think the Carolinas is hotter than Florida is because you've got all this mountainous up and down and all these woods and all these trees and all this stuff that blocks. There's no wind. There's no movement. The wind is stagnant out there. The air is stagnant out there. So the other day we had a high of 89, which doesn't sound like much, but when you're in the dead of sun, 3 o'clock, the sun is basically right over your head. You think noon right over your head. No, 3 o'clock is right over our head. No wind, no nothing. Can't buy any shade. And we're sitting there digging into this Carolina clay, which is mostly quartz, limestone, rock, granite, and a little bit of clay mixed in. So you're trying to pickaxe these things into the ground. Oh, we had a hard time the first time putting the fence in 10 years ago, and now we're paying for it again. But 10 years ago, I could be out there just fine and do, a whole section by myself. And I say a whole section, a whole run of maybe 200 feet long. I couldn't even do 30 feet. I could barely do 50 feet in the sun. And my wife, as soon as we got out there in the sun, we lasted 2 hours. That was it. 2 hours, maybe got 6 poles in. And we both looked at each other and go, God, we're old and we're fucking pussies. I would pay someone to come out there and put these poles in the ground. So my wife, we both kind of pushed out, but it was okay. It's the weekend. We're not in a rush to do it. We're doing it at our leisure. The horses are on the other side of the property. We don't really need this pasture. It's the front pasture when you approach the house. So it's the one that we try to make them look the most responsible, the most decorative, the most, pristine out there as far as an entrance to our property. The back pastures are basically just poles and hot wire or electric fence every 25 feet. So we're not worried about that. We're worried about we're worried about we look like to the neighbors. We want to make sure we have a nice fenced in pasture, and this is the price that it costs to do it. So my wife, it was a Saturday, and she's like, I can't do this. I'm done. Sunday, I couldn't get her off the couch. She was done. She's like, my arms are sore, my back is sore, my legs are sore, I'm sunburnt. So the other day, I just took my time by myself, got the tractor out there. I've got a big 12-inch auger on the back of it, and I'm digging. I know, country talk, right? Believe me, we'll get into the news and the stories and stuff here in a minute. But so I take the auger, and I'm trying to chip in through this, quartz and limestone, whatever soil we got here. I don't know how anything grows here in North Carolina with this soil, but it's hard. It's rocky for the most part. So I'm out there, and I'm taking my time. And yeah, sure enough, I got about probably a good 4 or 5 hours into it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish this run right here. And then the pasture's got to take, or the pasture fence has got to take this wide, like kidney bean type turn out by the road. I said, I'm going to stop right here. And you guys know my trials and tribulations with my back. Sure enough, the last 2 poles I had to pull out of the ground. And when I say pull them out of the ground, you've got this 4x4 that's sticking in the ground or stuck in the ground that you've put in there 10 years ago. And the horses have been leaning on it. So like I said, it's at an angle. And if you take it, just kind of rock it back and forth slowly, left to right, side by side, and then grab it like a bear hug, you can pull these poles right out of the ground. Like I said, we didn't concrete all of them in. Only the ones that we thought needed to be concreted in. Big mistake. Anyways, when you pull them out, boom, sometimes it takes a little bit of pressure. Sometimes they just fly right out. Well, the second to last pole I had to get out of the ground, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. And I'm pulling. All of a sudden, it lets go. And it comes flying out of the ground. Well, that's not good when you have 2 crushed vertebrae on your back and you're trying to maintain, not twisting or torquing your back at all. So, yep, that was it. I pulled the pole out. My wife goes, I'm going to go down and feed the horses and stuff. This is like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, evening time. I said, yeah, I'm done. I just wrenched my back. And she said, oh, my God, that's enough. Stop. Don't do any more. I don't need you all locked up in the hospital or anything like that. So that night, we have one of those electric things where it massages you with electric pulses. Man, I thought that was all like fake medicine type thing. But no, that thing works, man. She cranks that thing up to 10, and it just sits there and goes zzz, 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 with the electricity increasing. I got these 4 electrodes on my back. It works good, man. I'll tell you what, I almost fell asleep with that thing on, but thank God it's got an automatic timer. It goes off to about 20 minutes or so. So that's my story. That's what we've been doing here on the property. I have a nice tan. If you're looking at me on the video here, I've got color back in my face. This Florida boy was getting a little pale out there. And so now I've got this nice little golden tan like I should have, being a native from Florida. All right, guys, lots to get into, a big show, lots to talk about. And don't forget, we're giving away some free stuff, and you can get yours by going over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Get your free stuff over there as well. All right, guys, stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'll give you something for free, and the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on Free Swag. It's in the drop-down menu. And you can see the list of all the different stuff we have to give you for free. I still have a handful of headphones left. We can get those out to you. All you have to do is fill out that little form and send us your physical mailing address, only for those in the United States. Sorry, guys, overseas. I know. I'm not paying $97 to ship a $20 set of headphones over to Europe or anything like that. So sorry, you guys can still get them over at the Gizmo. I think it's Gizmo. What is it called? GizmoLeague.com. You can find those headphones over there. Same ones that we're giving out here on the program. Now, I recently have gone to my normal doctor, and my doctor says, your blood pressure is a little high. You could lose a little weight. Let's see what else. I think that's it. And then I told her about my back, and she's like, okay, so she gave me prescribed high blood pressure medicine, and basically said, hey, do the best you can to lose some weight. And during this process, I said, I heard about that product called Ozempic. And I think the other one's Wachovia? No, Wegovy, something like that. And they were designed to be diabetic for people who had type 2 diabetes. And one of the results of this, or one of the side effects, I should say, is it promotes weight loss. Like, you lose your craving for, I guess, just eating altogether from reading all the articles and everything. And so, of course, the people out there in California heard about it, and they're starting to buy it up. And the people that have diabetes, I haven't seen any stories about them not being able to get the drug because everyone's buying it up. Because, first of all, it's very expensive. If you don't have insurance, the medicine, which I understand is a pill or an injection or something like that, that goes for like $10,000, and you've got to take it all the time. If you don't take it all the time, then the weight just comes right back on. I've heard stories of people that have lost it, have been on it for 30 days and lost 14 pounds only by taking the pill and not changing anything in their diet other than they're not having those cravings anymore, those impulse cravings. But one thing that they're finding out right now is Ozempic has kept this place in the headlines, and it looks like the trend will continue. It all began when the folks discovered that the diabetes medication was also pretty darn effective when it comes to trying to get pounds off. But quickly we learned that there are some drawbacks, such as Ozempic face. And now things can never be simple and easy. There's apparently an Ozempic butt too. So the Ozempic face is where if you lose weight, you actually lose weight in your face. Like, I forget what these, if you're looking at me here on the video, these cheeks are called, the fractal cheeks or something. People are actually going in and having surgery to remove this fat out of their face. Well, Ozempic will automatically take care of that. And what happens is you look like, like a Holocaust, survivor. It makes your face drawn. It sucks your eyes in and stuff. So you have to be really, really careful with this stuff. And unfortunately, it also does the same thing with your butt. It sucks out all the fat and everything out of places that you want some fat. Like, I've got a nice butt, by the way. My wife thinks I have a very nice butt, and I don't want to lose that. I don't want to look like a frog standing straight up and down. Weight loss, whether it's from a diet, exercise, surgery, or medication, can take a toll on your face. Fat in your face has helped us maintain your natural, youthful appearance. But when you lose facial fat, it often appears gone and skeletonized. Likewise, per reports, if you lose weight in the rear end quickly, your skin can reshape itself and into your new build and form normally. And it can apparently make your butt look saggy. Per one report, nutrition plays a part here too. Folks on Ozempic should make sure they're eating a lot of protein and maintaining a proper diet to keep muscles from breaking down. That report said that a combination of losing weight fast and malnutrition may lead to poor skin elasticity in the areas that you are usually well defined on the body. It suggests that healthy exercise while on the medication could help prevent these issues too. So if you're looking to lose weight and thinking about going on the Ozempic route, it's probably worth a discussion with your doctor so that you can avoid having the Ozempic face or now Ozempic butt. So Ozempic butts out there. So if you're on Ozempic, I'd like to hear from you, and the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio. At the bottom of the page says "Be Heard." It's a microphone. It's a direct line right here to the podcast. Speak right in that. Comes to our inbox, and we'll play your response to if you are on Ozempic or know someone that's been on Ozempic. It comes right to our inbox, and we'll play it on the very next podcast as well and get caught up with you. Now, if for those of you who don't have the $10,000 or have good insurance to where you can afford to get the Ozempic, there's what they call nature's Ozempic. Social media is chock full of posting promises to be the next big weight loss method. One of the latest trends is Berberine, Berberine, a bitter-tasting ammonia compound found in many botanical plants, including golden seal, barberry, and Oregon grape. Now, I remember golden seal back in my weed smoking days. If you had a drug test or something like that, you would buy a whole bottle that you would get at the head shop, and it's pills, little capsules, and you'd open them up and put them in your drink and stuff, and you would drink that, and you would pass a drug test. It was golden seal. I guess it's the same thing. Indeed, and many social medias are calling Berberine supplements nature's Ozempic. In a comparison to the highly popular prescription drug, also known as Wachovia. There's another one out there called Wachovia. Berberine, or Berberine, has been around a long time. In the past, patients, in an effort to address conditions ranging from irritable bowel syndrome and elevated blood sugars, have used this product. But Berberine actually is Berberine actually worth it for weight loss or otherwise? Almost always, I tell people, this is Dr. Kane from a weight loss specialist. I always tell people to stop taking them, and Berberine would be no exception to that. That's not to say that Berberine doesn't have potential benefits under the right circumstances, he added. It's just hasn't been studied on a large scale. Supplements are not regulated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, Kane pointed out. The safety and reliability of these supplements are always questionable. If you don't know exactly what you're taking, and when you're not sure the efficacy or the efficiency of it, or effectiveness, let's do that one. The whole thing makes for a very, very difficult recommendation. While Berberine has the potential benefits in terms of blood sugar levels, eating certain foods, such as those high in fiber, can contribute even more. It's not clearly whether any meaningful weight loss has been reported. Actually, there's been side effects associated with Berberine, including effects of gut microbial function and liver enzymes. It can pose certain risk in children, including from being ingested through breast milk. Generally speaking, people ask Dr. Kane about these supplements. If the whole herb, whatever, that's used in cooking. Generally speaking, when people ask me about the supplement, ask the doctor about the supplement, it is if it's a whole herb that's used in cooking, eat it in its whole form. I generally would say stay away from these products. Period. So there you go. Some brands tend to be more reliable, especially if they allow third parties to observe the manufacturing testing of the products, he added. However, uncertainty remains without a large-scale study. So there's Berberine out there and Ozempic. And I know I was reading an article the other day about there is not generic, but like Ozempic that's sold like over the counter. I say over the counter, and I use that term loosely as far as it being sold on the internet. If you are going to take that, my advice, this is just my advice after reading the article, they say that make sure you have a licensed doctor that's prescribing this medication and not getting it over the counter, because you don't know what they're mixing in there. It could be just battery acid and speed or something like that. All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, do women actually smell better? And when I say smell better, literally with their nose, not physically smelling better. And I'll get into that here when we come back. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want to be heard? Well, we'd love to hear from you, and you can be part of the show at any given time. Go over to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio. click on the very bottom of the page, says Be Heard. It's a little blue tab. It's got a microphone on it. It says Be Heard. Click on that. Opens up a microphone on whatever device you're listening to us on. Speak right into it. You can be anonymous if you want, and your voice will appear right here on the podcast. It's a direct line to the studio, and if you get yours in early enough, we'll play it on this podcast. If not, we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. And you can ask us any questions you can ask us any questions about the last 8 years of programming that we've had here on the podcast. So we welcome all walks of life. You can even say, happy birthday, Loretta. All right, Loretta, happy birthday. There you go. Now you're on the air. Now you're podcast famous. Now, one famous theory is that women have better smelling sensories than men do. In a recent study published in the Scientific Reports Journal, researchers compared the responses of men and women to various scented stimulations. The background of this study, a recent research supports that females have a better sense of smell than males. Studies have shown that women excel in absolute detection, discrimination, and identification tasks compared to men. One theory suggests that possessing a keen sense of smell may offer evolutionary benefits specific to the gender. The embryo protection hypothesis suggests that women's smell and taste plays a crucial role in protecting the embryo during pregnancy, leading to a healthier offspring. The existence of gender-related differences in the olfactory, their smelling ability, is still open in the field of research with varying and sometimes opposing empirical findings and theoretical explanations. So here's the study. The present-day study, researchers examine and research and perform... Jesus. Researchers examined the reaction and performance of women and men to a broader range of odor exposure's outcome. Through the public advertisement, a team recruited adults participating, including 37 women and 39 men. The study established parametric estimates of the olfactory sensories through a constant stimulation procedure. The experiment involved dilutions. The experiment involved using dilutions. Fuck me. God, I hate this so much. The experiment involved using dilutions of odorant and butanol as stimuli, where pure tap water was used as a blank stimulus. The study employed the exposure chamber to evaluate responses to prolonged exposure to the odor. The intense variance and the valence and effort of the concentration of the butanol exposures were elevated by participants using a Borg CR100 scale. Okay, so here's what happened. The study used a trope task to assess the absorption, the emission, and the interference as a general estimate. In contrast, a 3-back job elevated the participants' working memory capacity and updating the ability. I don't know what a 3-back job is. Sounds kind of weird. The properties of the odor were rated multiple times throughout the experiment, including a chamber door closure, thrice during blank, thrice during rising, and 7 times during the plateau of exposure. Participants rated the substance and the symptoms before, during, and twice during the plateau of the exposure. Additionally, the team performed the strobe and the 3-back task at the beginning and the end of exposure while collecting the autonomic measuring repeatedly. Questionnaires were completed by the participants following the exposure. So what are the results of all this? Well, both men and women showed similar abilities to concentrate with a slight difference of 0.78, with a strong evidence against considering the effect of sex. No sex differences were found on the analysts of cognitive task scores during the extended odor exposure. The Stroop task showed a sex difference of 0.38, with evidence suggesting that the effect of sex should not be included. Both men and women had similar scores on the 3-bag task, and there was a strong evidence against involving the impact of sex. So in conclusion, the study has examined the difference between similarities of odors reacting to the basic smelling functions between men and women through various tests. The constant stimulation or stimulus procedure was used to measure the olfactory acuity. I don't know how to read. I'll just put it that way. Determine the decision making in a procedure sensory is uncertain. So basically what they've done is they can't determine between male and females. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Probably back in the early days when we were running around dragging our knuckles and stuff, yes, women probably had a better sense of smell than men did back in those days. And I'm talking way back. Now, I'm not talking like the 1800s. I'm talking back before like Columbus and, the New World and all that stuff, when we were still running around hitting each other with rocks and stuff. And I think just over time that has gone away. Kind of like, didn't we have like a preamble tail at one time, and some of us still have that little bone in the back? So evolution, we all have the same sense of smell, I guess, now. So maybe that theory is no longer valid. Now, with the evolution of man and women, relationships have also had an evolution as well. Two teenagers were high school sweethearts in the 1950s, broke up after a few years, and they didn't see each other until over a year ago. Now Caroline Reeves and Eddie Lamb are newlyweds, sharing their love that has blossomed 63 years after they first met. And for more on this, don't forget, for every podcast we have a matching video of this, and you can see this. Go over to YouTube and make sure you like and subscribe to DeaconLive podcast. So here we go. I'm going to switch to camera 4 so we can all see this. And here's the story about two lovebirds getting married after 63 years of being broken up. So here we go.
More than 60 years in the making. Here's how it goes. Caroline Reeves and Eddie Lamb, there they are. They were high school sweethearts in Nashville, Tennessee in the 1950s. Look how she's looking at him. They broke up after a few years. She's still looking at him. They broke up after a few years and didn't see each other again until just over a year ago. Eddie is now 85. Now he's looking at her, looking at each other. I love this. Hold
on, I got to switch something here. Now, many years ago in the 1950s, two teens in the 1950s who dated lost touch. They reunited their romance after 63 years. The two teenagers were high school sweethearts in the 1950s, broke up after a few years, and didn't see each other until a little over a year ago. Now, Caroline Reese and Eddie Lamb are newlyweds, sharing their love that blossomed over 63 years after they met. Now, don't forget, for every podcast we have a matching video, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here on the show. I'm going to switch over to camera 4, and as soon as this ad stops playing, you can see this in real time. Just go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio, click on social contacts, and you can see our YouTube channel as well, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here on the air. So here we go. After this ad.
Stink, swipe out sniff checks. Secret works, even aluminum free. Oh, yes. Secret, sticks and sprays.
It's not often we get to use the word remarkable around here, but we can use it this time because we're going to begin this hour with a remarkable love story, more than 60 years in the making. Here's how it goes. Caroline Reeves and Eddie Lamb, there they are. They were high school sweethearts in Nashville, Tennessee in the 1950s. Look how she's looking at him. They broke up after a few years. She's still looking at him. They broke up after a few years and didn't see each other again until just over a year ago. Eddie is now 85. Now he's looking at her, looking at each other. I love this. Caroline turns 82 on Thursday. And as our lead national correspondent, that would be David Begnaud, found out.
Look at him.
They recently married, and guess what? They are still very much in love.
It was 1956. Elvis was playing on the jukebox. Ike and Mamie were in the White House. And Caroline and Eddie, well, they were in love.
Oh, I just thought he was the cutest boy on campus, you know.
And once I saw her, it was all over.
Eddie Lamb was earning 65 cents a day, delivering the Nashville Tennessean, the newspaper that would one day tell their love story.
When I took her out, all I could do was Coke and French fries, and that was about it.
That's the only meal he ever bought me was French fries and a Coke.
Known around town as Eddie's girl, Caroline Reeves wasn't looking for a fancy dinner. She had her eyes set on his high school class ring and all that it would signify.
It was an engagement ring, and I was the type of person that would have committed myself to him for the rest of my life with that ring.
When you didn't get the high school ring?
It was just really broke my heart. And I just thought he just didn't care enough about me.
And what came of that?
Well, not a whole lot.
Whose fault was that?
No, that was probably mine.
Look at y'all.
And I made all of the dresses.
Eddie set his sights high, joining ROTC at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville with dreams of flying planes in the U.S. Air Force. It was her senior year in high school, and Eddie couldn't find the words to tell a proper goodbye to Caroline. So he didn't.
We pulled up in her driveway, and I said, "May I kiss you?" And so I kissed her goodnight then, not knowing that that's the last time I would kiss her in 64 or 65 years.
And I got out of that car and ran up the steps and slammed the door and went upstairs and cried all night. That was it.
Their lives would follow far different paths. She became Miss Nashville, 1959. 2 years later, they were married to other people. She to Charles Wallace, he to Polly Piper. Eddie would go on to serve 21 years flying KC-135s for the United States Air Force. Caroline traveled the world. She was an interior designer, a magazine writer, and wrote 3 novels. Things changed in December 2021. Eddie's wife, Polly, the mother of their 2 children, died from ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. They'd been married 2 days shy of 60 years.
I heard you were her caretaker.
Yes, I was for about a year and a half to 2 years.
It's just shows you his strength and how sweet and kind and gentle this man is.
After her marriage to Charles Wallace ended in the 80s, Caroline married a man named George Kennedy.
What a hussy.
In 2001. Over the course of your life, did you wonder how Eddie was?
All the time. All the time.
Eddie, did you wonder how she was?
Yes, I did.
In April 2022, Eddie was living in California, Caroline in Nashville.
And all at once, something hits me. I said, I've got to call her.
I had 9 calls, and I don't answer unsolicited calls.
Eddie, you called 9 times.
9 times. Yeah, I'm not going to give up.
I love it.
Yeah, not going to give up.
Just what she wanted to hear.
That third night, he told me he still loved me, and I knew my life had changed.
He flew to Nashville to see her. This time, she was in the driver's seat.
And I heard you didn't make it too far from the airport.
No. He peeked his head into my car, and he took my breath away. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. I just can't even explain it. So I got out of the parking lot, zoom, went around and found the FedEx parking lot. And it was the warehouse. It was closed at night, and they had all these security lights. And I got out and jumped around, and we hugged and kissed. And I remember looking up at the security lights, and insects were swirling all around.
The FedEx lights. Wow.
So FedEx does deliver.
Oh, jeez.
At the age of 84, Eddie popped the question.
He said, well, we'll get you a ring. And I said, no, this is what I want. And he put this on my finger. And that's his high school class ring.
That you wanted 60 years ago.
It's my engagement ring.
And the girl got it.
God, I love it. I love you.
Aw.
Her dream came true.
If you had to title your story, what would it be?
Miraculous.
So, I mean, after 60 some odd years, her dream came true. But I mean, I have a little bit of a problem with it. Hold on, let me switch back to camera 1 so I can tell you my problem. So, I mean, yes, everyone has a past relationship. Everyone, hopes and wonders, how that person is doing in time. But, I mean, for them she got married twice, and, whatever happened with her marriage, and then he lost his wife almost after 60 years, and then to go back and reunite together. I mean, I guess what I'm saying, did they really have a fair wedding or fair marriage relationship with their whoever they decided to marry? And then, okay, this one passed away, so I'm free. This one passed away, so I'm free. Let's get back together and see what would have been. Would have been, they were thinking about would have been for 60 some odd years. There's got to be some kind of emotional, how do I explain it? You're not being fair to the one you've committed your life to. For example, my wife, I love my wife dearly. She is the one. She's the, I don't, of course you think about other relationships, but I never thought of what would have been. I just wonder, I wonder if that person's still alive, basically, is what I'm thinking. Is that person still alive? Because, we're all getting up in age. And, that's not fair to your loved one. If you just sit there in the back of your mind, when you look at them and you say, I do, that means I do for you. And everyone else in the past is the past. You don't sit there late night laying in bed or whatever and thinking about, what would have happened if I would have taken this turn, and what would have happened if I took that turn. And if you are, in my opinion, then you shouldn't be in the relationship that you are now, thinking about what would have been or what could have been. I wonder if I should have done that. I wonder if should have done that. I wonder if you should have gotten married then. Then that's my question. So I'm just throwing it out there. All right, guys, stick around. A couple more segments. I know. Let me get off this high horse of mine. A couple more segments, and we'll let you get back to enjoying the rest of your day. You listen to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we will give you something for free, but you got to do me a favor. Go on over, type in on your computer device, fancy things, Prophet Radio, PROPHET radio.com. And at the bottom of actually in the middle of the page says social contacts. You can see all the stuff that links us to you and you to us. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on, make sure you join our Facebook page, our fan page over there. We're on TikTok. And we also have videos for every podcast we do. All the audio that you hear on your iHeartRadio, on your iTunes, Spotify, all the 25 different platforms that we're on. There's also a video that goes along in tandem, and you can see all the different things that are going on here in the studio. When we're talking about an article, you can see the visual effects of that as well. Make sure you like and subscribe over there. And while you're over there, get yourself something for free, a little drop-down menu. Pick out whatever prize pack you'd like over there. Fill out the form, and we'll send it out to you as soon as we get it. Now, I told you about we were out in the sun, and we couldn't buy any shade. It was very, very, very expensive to buy shade when we were out there doing the fences here on our property. And one thing that my wife does all the time. Now, I was born and raised in Florida, such as my wife, and we used to wear sunglasses all the time. All the time. You wouldn't catch me outside in Florida without sunglasses. Up here in North Carolina, I really don't put any sunglasses on other than to cut the lawn. I've got like some safety glasses that have a yellow tint to them that are polarized. So it takes off the glare or the refraction or the light. It's not blinding when I'm mowing the lawn. Plus, it protects my eyes. My wife wears sunglasses all the time. She's got prescription sunglasses, so she'll take her regular glasses off and put these on, and boom, she's got sunglasses that she can actually read with. Now, you ask yourself, well, what's the big deal about sunglasses? I'll just go to the store, grab a $5 pair, and then be done with it. Well, how to choose the right sunglasses to protect your eyes and vision. Learn which features to look for in sunglasses and what features you may want to avoid. So sunglasses are often thought as a primary accessory or fashion, the way that you hide your tired eyes, but in fact they can play a very important role in your eyes and skin around them from damaging effects of the UV lights ray emitted from the sun. Where sunglasses matter. Regularly wearing sunglasses outdoors in the car can help prevent conditions such as macular degeneration, cataracts, and some cancers of the eyes and eyelids, or photochromic keratitis, or what they call sunburns of the eyes, which can be temporarily painful, redness, blurry vision, and light sensibility or sensitivity. Words are hard sometimes. Sunglasses that wrap around the temple can add additional help in alleviating symptoms such as dry eyes and sensitivity associated with conditions like thyroid eye disease. And wearing a hat with a brim also blocks the UV rays. All right, so what are you looking for? 5 tips when choosing eyeglasses or sunglasses. Sunglasses are sold in all kinds of stores, but 5 tips for choosing sunglasses. UV protection is a must. UV rays from the sun damage the eye's tissues directly and can cause cancer of the skin around the eyes. For this reason, you want to look for UV blocking sunglasses as part of your sun protection whenever you're outdoors or in the car. So you're looking for glasses that says 100% UV or UV 400 on the label. If you don't see that, then these glasses aren't going to help you at all. Choosing the lens darkness. Another feature considered the darkness of the sunglasses. People with light sensitivity, such as migraines, can be tempted to seek out darker lenses, but regularly wear very dark lenses can backfire. Dark lenses allow less light into your eye that causes your pupil to dilate, which can actually increase your eye's fatigue and sensitivity to light over time. The American Academy of Ophthalmology recommends that using a medium dark lens on daily use and darker lens for over a brighter environment. Choosing your lens size, the larger the lens, of course, makes it more UV blockage around your eye. Large wraparound glasses often do the most protection for elements and are a good option for those irritations from allergens, thyroid disease, and other eye conditions. Understanding the lens polarization. Polarization lenses have a chemical coating that reduces glare from the sun and other source of light. They also prevent snow blindness, as well as eye strain caused by water and sand reflection. That's why that's what I was trying to say as far as wearing my polarized glasses when I mow the lawn. While polarization is not required, it can be an added benefit, particularly in activities such as fishing, boating, skiing, mountaineering, or mowing the lawn. Choose your lens color. Doesn't matter. Pick whatever you like. Gray, brown, yellow, red, doesn't matter. Just make sure that the actual color of the lens has no bearing on the UV protection, polarization, or functionality. Like lens darkness, you can experience with different colors of lens that fit your face and fit your description as far as fashionability. So there you go. You're looking for UV protection on the sunglasses, and you're looking for, if you need wider lenses, by all means, grab wider lenses. I prefer the polarization. I know my dad had problems with having polarized sunglasses, said it gave him a headache for some reason. So I always had that myth in the back of my mind. Polarization sunglasses would give you a headache or a migraine. And then when I would go boating, I put those polarized glasses on, man, you could see right through the water where the big fishes are. Now, Apple right now has released a new set of quote-unquote sunglasses this past week. The Apple Monday has held its annual WWDC keynote, where the company unveiled its much-anticipated mixed reality headset, and it is calling it the Vision Pro. Apple calls this headset the most active personal electronic device ever. It features high-end specs such as an array of 12 cameras and technology called quote-unquote eyesight, which Apple says that it will allow the wearers to naturally see their surroundings even as they use their headset. The Vision Pro, which is basically an AR/VR, just to let you know, could prove a tough competition for the Meta Quest line. Sounds like I'm calling a radio station. The Vision Pro could prove a tough competition for Meta's Quest line of headset. Still, a typical Apple fashion, the company's coming in at a premium end of the market, which a starting price of, get ready for this, $3,499 when the Vision Pro launches, which is scheduled for earlier next year. Meta recently announced the Quest 3, which features the similar mixed reality functions, would only cost $499, even with the Quest Pro and Quest Pro 3, which starts at $999. So would you buy one of these headsets? They're VR headsets. They're going to say that computers are going to be gone. And is it going to be like, was it Iron Man when he's doing all the stuff in virtual space and he's doing all the computers and switching and moving and stuff? Are you going to have this headset on? Everyone looks like a dork. You got to take the dorkiness out of these headsets, these virtual headsets. You look like a ding dong. There's a reason why there's a whole list of videos out there with people, playing games and stuff and falling on their face because they think that they're actual in reality. Now, I know I've worn them before, and you do lose that concept of that you are in this reality or VR type world, and you trip or fall or you just lose your balance. But you've got to take that dorkiness out of it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you make them cool, but on the outside looking in, you look like an idiot. On the inside looking out, oh my God, this is so cool. This is so cool. No. You look like a dumbass. Now, some of us feel like dumbasses when we go to bed. We're like, hey, we're going to get a good night's sleep. And, 3 hours later, you're waking up and you're like, God damn it, I'm wide awake. Now, the makers of an app called Sleep Reset claims it can help you get more and better sleep without the use of drugs. They have a study to prove it. A group of researchers at the University of Arizona Sleep and Health Research Program, some of whom have served in the company's medical advisors, has just published a paper in a peer-reviewed journal, Frontiers in Sleep. The paper details the results of a 12-week program that uses the app Sleep Reset, which apparently increases the average participant's sleep time by about 44 minutes. Now, those that are getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night increases their sleep time by up to 85 minutes. So some of them are likely to improve their time because they were able to fall asleep much earlier. The paper states that the participants who typically lie awake for 30 minutes before dozing off managed to reduce that time by 53%. And those who usually spend an hour trying to fall asleep were able to reduce their time by over 41%. Meanwhile, those wake up in the morning 3 times, or those who wake up more than 3 times overnight found themselves experiencing 2 fewer nightly wakings. The researchers said that nearly half of the participants stopped using sleep aids after completing the program. The study involved 564 participants, 65% who were female and ages between 30 to 60 years old. They also used the app's sleep diary, mindfulness exercises, and trackers to monitor their progress. To use the Sleep Reset, the user needs to answer a series of questions on what kind of sleep they're getting and what they're having trouble with. They also asked to state what their goals were, such as whether they're looking to feel more rested or just wanting to look more youthful. I want to be a restful, youthful person. How about that? So the writer of this article, the author of this article, only got as far as the page charging me for the 7-day trial period, which the users could get for as little as $9, but as much as $29, the most expensive option. The company said that it will help it support those who can't only afford to pay the minimum amount. So there you go. There's a app out there called Sleep Reset. If you've got this app or you want to try this app, hold on. Let me figure. So if you have this app and you're familiar with this app, we'd like to hear what your results are. Do you have better sleep with the Sleep Reset app? And if you do, let us know. Go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. At the bottom of the page says Be Heard. Click on that. Comes right here to the studio, and you can be podcast famous. All right, guys, when we come back, one more little segment, and we'll let you get back to doing what you got to do. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on our social networks, and make sure you follow us on YouTube. For every podcast we do, we have a matching video, and you can see all the videos and stuff in real time as we're talking about them here on the show. And the way you do that is go to YouTube, search Deacon Live, all one word, and then podcast, and make sure you subscribe over there. I'm not doing it for any monies at all. I'm just trying to give you guys another avenue to enjoy the Deacon Live podcast. Everyone out there listens to the podcast. Not everyone sees what's going on here at the podcast. So we want to give you that one more little aspect of the show so we can all be one big happy family here at Deacon Live. Now, this week has been a busy week for me. We have 4 vehicles here on the property. We have my dad's car, we have my truck, we have my wife's car, and then we have a little farm truck. Now, my wife's car is, I think last year we put 4,000 miles on it. That's it. My truck, my brand new Chevy Silverado 2500 series that we ordered with all the accoutrements that we wanted on it. It is over a year old, a year and a half old right now, and we barely have 4,600 miles on it. And I tell you that to tell you this, because now my wife's car, the Audi, needs an oil change. So we live out in the middle of nowhere, 22 some odd acres. We live in a small town of Marshville, population 2,500 people. The closest Wendy's or any kind of fast food restaurant is 8 miles away. So we are out here. So when it's time to get the oil change and stuff, it's not like you just drop it off and, you can go up there a couple hours later and pick it up. No, you've got to drive an hour to the dealership. Yes, we do the dealership because I trust them more than I would Joe Mechanic down the shop, because these are very expensive vehicles and I don't want Joe Mechanic down the street to basically fuck anything up. Now, the farm truck, I don't care. I took it to the Nissan dealership one time, and the farm truck is a 1992, and they looked at it and go, we can change the oil on this, but we can't. There's no one here. This truck is older than half of the people, the mechanics in the shop. I'm like, all right, so you find an old mechanic. Hopefully you can. There's the rooster. Hopefully you trust him enough to make sure he gives you the right deal. And we found a guy here locally that has taken care of the truck, and I need to get a hold of him because something happened. I think a fuse blew somewhere, and I want to know what happened. And he's the guy I can go, hey, what's going on with this? He's like, oh, this is touching this. And then he'll just, give me $20 and be on my way. So we had to take my wife's car down, and the good thing, well, one of the many good things about my dad living here is that he's got a lot of free time. So it's like, Dad, can you follow me to the dealership? I'll buy you breakfast and then drop off the car. And then the next day, can you follow me to the dealership? I'll buy you breakfast and pick up the car. So this whole week, we're doing this whole do-si-do, trying to get the truck to get the oil change. The big truck, not the little farm truck. The big truck to get oil change, my wife's car to get oil change. And my dad's learning the system. He realizes if he takes me somewhere, I will buy him either lunch or breakfast. I think he's working the system a little bit, but there you go. Now, someone else that's working the system is this bar over in Australia. People are outraged. Outraged, I tell you. Over in Adelaide, Adelaide nightclub called the Wool Shed in Hindley over its racy event that they just had. This nightclub pulled an event where women would get a free drink based on their bra size. Follows an online backlash. Of course, why wouldn't it? It's a bar. Why would we talk about women's breasts in a bar? The Wool Shed in Hindley, self-described as a country-themed pub by day, but one of Adelaide. I'm going to say Adelaide. Adelaide. I got to figure out how to spell that. Pronounce. Or it's going to drive me crazy. Pronunciation. Here we go. You ready? What do they say?
Adelaide.
Adelaide. All right, so Adelaide. One of Adelaide's best nightclub after dark urges women to hang your bra in the shed. Urged women to hang their bra in the shed is now deleting their Instagram posts. Hanging your bra is uncomfortable. Hanging it up on the shed and let loose. Hang it up on the shed and let loose. All right, there you go. That means you as well, boys. The post went on to suggest that the patron could get a free drink based on their bra size. So here we go. A cup, you get one free drink. A B cup, you get two free drinks. With the tagline, the bigger, the better. The post gave no details on how the patron's bra size would be determined, and the undergarment had to be removed in order to receive the free drinks. In a Facebook post on Sunday, Hindley Street venue, the Hindley Street venue announced the promotion would not be going ahead. We sincerely apologize for the fact that the post made some of our patrons feel uncomfortable and body shamed, as it was never our intentions. Based on the feedback from our community, we have canceled the promotion and are workshopping ideas for different promotions that would promote fun, safe, and inclusive environment for all. The comments on the post range from damnation over the concept, while others defended the promotion and branded dissenters as being too sensitive. So I remember growing up in college, they would have anyone in the dress, you would drink, dollar drafts all night long. And guys would go in there with dresses on. Now, I would do the same thing too, but I had a kilt. I didn't want to do the full sundress or anything like that. But I mean, that's what they do. You want to get people in there. You want to get a mass of people in there. One, if you had a bunch of women in there, that's going to bring men in there. And, men are going to drink a lot more than women. Now, does it create an uncomfortable environment? Well, think about it this way. The woman who goes in there and takes her bra off to get a free drink already has some kind of confidence and some kind of understandability as far as what's going to happen to her in this situation. Now, granted, the bar has every right to make sure everyone is secure and protected while in the nightclub. So if you're a guy, you're like going, hey, all these girls are going to be in there. Let's go in there and have a good time with the girls. And those guys are going to drink more, like ladies drink free, those type nights. Now, you don't see those anymore because you just don't see them anymore. I don't know where that happened, where ladies don't drink free anymore, or ladies night. You don't see ladies nights anymore. There's too much of a taboo stipulation about what's going on today, what defines a woman or a lady as to a male. So that's out the window. So this is their way of trying to do it. Now, they said guys are invited to as well. If you've got a man bra, what do they call it? The bra or the bro? That's what it is, the bro. You bring your bro in, put your thing up there. And what if a guy has nice pecs or something? And I don't know. I'm reaching. I'm trying to be sympathetic to both sides. Yes, the bar wants to have in beautiful women because the beautiful women bring in a lot more foot traffic, a lot more beer drinkers or alcohol drinkers and stuff like that. And you get a crowded bar. The crowded the bar, the more money you make, the more you can buy drinks. And then it's a vicious circle that goes round and round. So do you think that's wrong? Do you think they should not have, based on their bra size, A cup women get 1 drink, B cup 2 drinks, D and on down the line? How many drinks? What if someone goes in there with double D's? Are they getting a whole keg to walk home with or something like that? It'd be interesting to see. Well, they never got that far because someone complained because it's them sensitive, all the women's rights and stuff. Look, whoever goes in, like I said, knows what they're getting into. This coyote didn't know what he was getting into when he approached this person's backyard. For all dog owners, especially small ones, the thought of a coyote entering can send chills down your spine. We have a fox here on our property that's been picking off our chickens left and right. So we've got them in a small little coop area with a fenced-in area with bird netting over the top so no one can get in and no one can get out. And I've got live traps all over the area. Yeah, it's kind of scary when you go out there and you see a dead animal. You're like, oh, man, what happened to this guy? So in this video, this is why we held our breath the whole entire time as we watched Kelly Beckert's dramatic porch camera footage of her family's itty-bitty chihuahua scaring off a coyote. As terrifying as this encounter must have been for the tiny 3-legged dog, we can't help but be impressed by her courage. By the looks of it, even the coyote was taken back. So don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video, and you can see this video in real time as we're talking about it here on the air. So I'm going to go to camera 4, and you got to hear this dog squeal at this coyote. So here we go. Chihuahuas are known for their fierce personalities, but this pup's sass literally saved their lives, and we're so relieved that she is this bold. So here we go. Here's the video. Let me make sure I got it. And we're all on the page. We're all doing good here. So let me mute this. Go back here, behind the scenes. Here we go. So this is a picture, just someone's off the back porch, and there's like a backyard that's open up to like back to the woods. So the woods are very, very prominent at the back side of this person's property. So here we go. So the coyote pinned the dog down, and the dog spun around and attacked the coyote. Get out of my yard. Yeah. You. Yes. Get out. I'll play it one more time. Oh. So the dog chases the coyote around and then, proudly walks back up to the back porch and says, my yard. This is my house. Get out of my house. I'll play it one more time for you. Here he goes. Chasing the coyote. Coyote chases him. Chihuahua says, no way. Get. Rawr, rawr. Now he's prancing back up to the house. Three-legged dog. Mine. Back up the steps. You can hear the growl, the slight growl as the dog's walking back up the steps. Listen there towards the end. Here we go. You hear that for miles. Here he goes, back up to the house. Listen to the growl. Get you. Fuck you. Get out of my house. There you go. So, if you got a little chihuahua, man, those things are, they're mean little sons of bitches, man. All right, guys, on that note, make sure you follow us on all your social networks. The way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio, at the very bottom of the page. It says Be Heard. If you'd like to be heard, get your prize pack over there on the free swag section. And make sure you like and subscribe to us over on YouTube. For every podcast we do, you can see that video also on our YouTube channel. And just like and subscribe. It's just another avenue for you guys to enjoy the Deacon Live podcast. On that note, guys, we're going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is the Deacon saying good night and good night.
Wait. Come back. This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.
Get back to what you got to do. Doing what you do. Oh, man. Here's my truck. 1911. Right there. All right, guys. Take care.